Hello everyone, Kent Bressler here. I want to welcome you to Kent's Kidney Stories. During our time together over these podcasts, I'd like to discuss kidney disease. I'd like to tell you about my journey as a transplant patient, but also talk about dialysis, kidney donation, and just about anything else that might be of interest. Kent's Kidney Stories, a podcast endorsed and sponsored by kidneysolutions.org.
Hello, everyone. This is Kent Bressler, and we're going to do some podcasting. And got a really great guest today who's looking for a kidney donor. We know what that's all about. If you're in the kidney space, you understand what that's all about. So let's bow our heads in prayer so we can get this started off on the right foot. Father God, help us love the life we live right now. Show us the good things we often overlook, and help us be content with what we have. Forgive us when we compare ourselves to others, and forgive us for longing for things outside of you and your kingdom. Thank you for loving us right where we are, and help us to know ourselves and to keep our eyes open on you. We ask this in your holy name, amen. So it's just a reminder to all those that are listening, whether they listen now, later on, or halfway through, or whatever. But today is the day that you can improve your kidney journey by believing in yourself. No one can take better care of you than yourself. Be inquisitive and get all of the options afforded to you before you make any decisions. And seek counsel with those who know, not with those who think they know. Two things. First of all, Kidney Solution has a support group on Monday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're interested, go to kidneysolutions.org and sign up. Secondly, all services provided by Kidney Solutions are free at no charge to you or to your donor. Okay, so think about this. Think about this fellow that we're going to talk about today. In his search for a donor, his name is Quinton Johnson. And if you so feel like you want to donate a kidney to Quinton, make sure you use that, because he goes by Quincy too. When you make application, make sure you use his, real name, Quinton, and don't use don't use Quincy, because they probably won't be able to find Quincy in the system. It's Quinton. So Quinton is he spent 30 years living in and out of hospitals. He started his kidney journey when he was merely 8 years old, and he's been in renal failure off and on since 2013. Top it all off, he has a pretty rare blood disorder called aplastic anemia. And we want to invite him in today because he's going to talk about not only his trip with his journey with kidney issues, but we want to learn a little bit about Quinton. Want to learn about where he's coming from and what he wants to do and how important it is for him to find a living kidney donor. So without further ado, how quaint is that? Quinton, how are you today?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
Oh, golly, sir. I haven't been called that since I was in the Army. No, I wasn't. I was calling others sir about that time. Listen, it's great to have you today. I appreciate you coming on.
Pleasure to be on.
We're working really hard at trying to figure out how we can get donors. Donors are difficult. They're difficult to find. And so give me a little idea of what's going on in your life right now. Give me a little bit of background also.
Let's see. At the age of 6, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which is I'm still living with that. And then around the age of 8 or 9, I was diagnosed with hypertension and nephrotic syndrome, which is a kidney disorder.
Yeah.
So, ever since the third and fourth grade, it's just been a battle. The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows, the frustrations. There were happy times, more bad than good, I would say, because when you're a kid, you think you're invincible. You don't think anything can happen to you, but I didn't understand why I was going to the hospital and stuff like that. So by the time I was around 23, they were talking about renal failure. And at the age of 23, I started dialysis for 3.5 years. And that's training in itself. But then I was blessed after those 3.5 years to have a kidney pancreas transplant. I got one. It was from a deceased donor. But what the doctors told me about 2 years ago was the kidney is basically gone. And the pancreas shut down. So back to type 1 diabetes, which I went to, which is not a concern because I've been a diabetic since I was 6. But it's just the kidney part. It's very draining. It's tiring. And I don't want to do dialysis again. So, now they're trying to proceed with a living donor. But that's a long process in itself, finding the right match and, all the testing and all that. So, I mean, it's just been an uphill battle since I was a kid.
Yeah. I can't imagine it. Just having diabetes in itself is enough work. And
Yes.
it's very difficult. I call it time consuming. I mean, your life is all embellished and folded up in diabetes and taking care of it.
Yes, exactly.
Start as a kid,
24
it
hours a
makes it
day.
bad. Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
It's
So-
easy for me because I've been in it since I was 30 years, going on 30 years. Next week is my 36th birthday, which is
Wow.
crazy in itself. But it's very time consuming and it's very draining. So, the kidney is just even worse because dialysis really
Beats you up, doesn't it?
it kills you, it hurts you, you're tired constantly. And then during the kidney and pancreas transplant I received, I developed another blood disorder. I don't know how I got it, but it's, the rare blood disorder you were talking about, the aplastic anemia, which drain your bone marrow doesn't make enough blood cells.
Right. Go ahead.
So
Explain it.
I have to take an iron pill every day, even though my blood cells, my white, red, and platelet counts are still low. That's very tiring in itself. But I think also a new kidney would probably help with that also.
Yes.
But life's been an uphill battle, but I've never been angry. I've never complained. I've just, because there's no use in doing that. My mother, rest in heaven, used to always tell me, there's no need to be mad at something that you can't take away. You just got to operate it the best you can.
Right. Can't fix that. You can't fix that. No, you're right.
So,
she was right.
Yeah. I just try to maintain and just do the best, but it is very timing and draining and consuming, and it eats you up day in and day out.
You have to be all in, don't you? In all honesty,
Yes, sir.
a lot of people just give up. They just say, "Oh, the hell with it," and they go on and they do their thing. They don't follow their diet. They don't take their medication. And in your case, with the pancreas kidney transplant, that was a real blessing. And but they don't last forever, right?
Yes, that's correct. They don't.
And I don't think you can blame yourself for the loss. Can you?
Yeah. No. It was just, they said it was just a bad organ, I guess, because they said nothing I did was my fault. I followed all the proper protocols and wore the mask and took my meds every morning, every night, and washed my hands. Everything. So it was just, it's just bad luck.
It was to be, right? That's interesting about kidney pancreas transplants. They're difficult to begin with, having them done and then living with them. But there are people that have done very, very, very well with it. And I can remember a couple of them being out, like a 25 years, but they were early on. And when you lose something like a transplant, it can be your fault. It can really be your fault by not doing what you're supposed to do. But then again, there are so many variables that cause things to fail. And in your case, I'm glad someone had the courage to tell you it wasn't your fault. And here you are. If it was your fault, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing today, right? You wouldn't be looking. You wouldn't.
Right.
All right. So we can go on past that real quick. Did they ever tell you the kid, did they both fail at one time, or did, the pancreas go and then the kidney went, or were they pretty much the same?
It was the pancreas started giving out first, and it's because of the rejection meds that I'm on.
Yes.
Because I'm on cyclosporin. Apparently CellCep and Prograf drop your blood cell counts.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't take those.
Right.
But cyclosporin elevates your blood sugar. And I was taking a high dose at first. I'm kind of down a little bit, but the pancreas just gave out before then. So
that's interesting, Quinton. I'm on cyclosporin. I've been on it for 34 years.
Wow.
I can relate. Usually I can't relate because I've never taken Prograf, never taken CellCep, so I've been mainly on prednisone, which raises your blood sugar.
Yes.
And Santamune, or cyclosporin, however you want to name it. So some people can tolerate that drug very, very well. Fortunately, I have been able to do it, but I can tell you that it does creep blood sugars up. And I can tell you as I age, as I'm getting older, my blood sugars are creeping up. I have to constantly watch it. So I do treat myself, make sure that I'm doing what I can to keep my sugars down. So, and you've done that your whole life.
Yes, since I was 6.
Yeah. See, that's amazing. And so consequently, when you have a response, how old were you when you did actually have the dual transplant? How old were you? Do you remember?
I was 29.
29. Okay. So, and it lasted a good while, and it took away the diabetes, but I got a feeling there were some things in that history, in your medical history, as far as your body goes, that caused this just as much as the medications did. I mean, it was kind of like, and if it, like I said, if it was a bad pancreas, organs, you can't always tell how they're going to do. Oh, there's tests for it, and then on top of it, aplastic anemia. I mean, there's a lot of things that were going on there. Okay. So I'm glad you're not beating yourself up for it, buddy. I'm really glad for you. I'm glad you're doing it. All right.
Yeah. I just maintain and just try to live life and, keep trying to, because I'm trying to avoid dialysis, because they said they're trying to get me a transplant done, because the next step, if I can't find one soon, then obviously it's back to dialysis. So,
okay. So that's what I want to hit on here. People are listening, right? It's imperative that we find a donor as quickly as we can for you. All right.
Yes.
We don't find them. God sends them. We know that. So, but our prayers are open that you find someone who's willing to step up. Doesn't have to be the same type of blood you have, but because paired exchange is available to you.
Yep.
The point is that we're asking here. We're not begging. We're asking, and we're praying that God will send you somebody. Now, this kidney business, you probably will go after you've been transplanted. You'll probably go on these 2 new, quote, new drugs, new immunosuppressive, Prograf and CellCep. You won't go back on the road with Santamune. It will be, supposedly a step up, and it has been. It's been very good. Although you got to take 2 medicines, those things work a lot better than Santamune has in the past, or they would have stayed with Santamune, right?
Right.
Okay. So, have you prepared yourself? How are you going about looking for a kidney?
With the help of you and your company, and then the University Transplant team. And then I have flyers and stuff I'm starting to put out. I'm handing them to people so they can give to like churches and stuff like that. So just trying to get out as many. And then some people have messaged me on Facebook Messenger about where to apply, and I give them the info and stuff. So
yeah, our flyers, have my phone number on that.
yes.
And the reason I do that, and I'm I'll do whatever for whatever the patient wants to do, but I like to have the opportunity to talk to them, and then I like the opportunity to follow them, because some people, they get cold feet, understandable. Some people just say, "What was I thinking?" Understandable, and some people just have lots of questions. They just can't figure out, well, what happens if I do this? And, is it going to affect my health? What about if I want to have children? I mean, it goes on and on. There's a multitude of things that potential donors have questions about. And we have, and what we have at Kidney Solutions, and you tell people that when they call, we have an opportunity for the donor, the potential donor, regardless of whether they're compatible with you or not, whether they become a donor, they can talk to someone who's experienced it. We have a multitude of people who have donated, and they're more than willing to talk to potential donors. And that's something for you to remember if you do get a call. And you don't have to answer the questions. You can get it. We can get people in that know how it goes. And being at university, that's a wonderful thing. Those folks are fantastic. All right. That transplant team, they go all in for you, and that's a good thing, a really good thing.
Yes, I remember the message you sent me either a couple of weeks ago or last month. You said, "Whoever has questions, I have answers." So
that's right. And if I can't come up with them right off, I'll get somebody in there that's not. I have access to a couple physicians, a couple nephrologists, a transplant surgeon, and they won't get into anything more than what the potential donor needs to know. And you know what? This donation business, when you're going to give up part of your life and give an organ, it's monumental. I mean, it's not just like, oh, easy, or, I don't have any problem. There can be problems, right? But if you know going in what to expect, it goes so much smoother, right?
Yes, sir.
So much smoother. Yep. So, and in your case, we've always said this, and I know you've heard it in support group. You know what? You don't get excited until that stretcher that you're on hits the door going into the OR. That's when you know you're ready to go, right?
Correct.
You don't stack your bricks up and get all ready to go until you hit those OR doors. And and that's the attitude we want you to have. And that's great. You've got a fantastic attitude. You speak well, you understand the concept, and you've got drive. Most people that go through this haven't got a clue what's going to happen to them. You've had experience, right? You've had a transplant already. It'll be different, but there are a lot of similarities to it. You'll know how to take care of yourself. And I will bet you, this isn't even a long shot here. Once that transplant occurs and you start taking care of it, you're going to get a lot of longevity out of it, right? You're going to have and you can take care of yourself. You can take care of your diabetes. So that's not a problem. All right. All of this stuff is adjustable. We adjust all the time. Our bodies adjust, our minds adjust. So, man, I got to give you some plaudits here. I got to give you a pat on the back. Let's go find that donor. We can do this. It's a matter of, that's right. And that's all you're focused on, isn't it?
Yes. Because, it's been fun, but it's been challenging. And if there's a way to improve life, and obviously with the living donor, with the living donor, it's 30 plus years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do all I can with the help of you and University Transplant and
Oh,
the doctor
absolutely.
and the team I have, and even my close friends and family who I give the flyers out to, and they're passing them out at jobs and at church and stuff like that. So hopefully someone comes aboard.
It will happen. God's going to send him. That person's going to be there. It's already there. He hasn't figured out what time the timing yet. We'll go on his time. One of the things that you can do for sure, you can spread this podcast around when it's available. You can also use those flyers. You've got a template on your email. You can send those out via email. And the question is not whether that person you send it to can donate. If they don't want to or can't, they sure can spread the word though, right? I mean, they can pass it on, ship it on, and keep it moving. You may be too young to remember the chain letters that we had. Remember those? One person would write a letter and send it to 5 people, asking them to send it to 5 people and more, and there was always a little gift or something involved with it, or money, so to speak. That's essentially what this email project is. Once you send it to somebody with the request, if you can donate, here's where you can go to do it. And if you can't, would you spread the word? Would you please forward it to all your contacts? And that kind of like tumbles down to everybody. And that's really what the goal is then, is to make, you can't sit in a corner in the darkened room and not ask people, because first of all, they'll never be able to pray for you. And if you don't ask, you'll never get a donor.
Exactly.
They don't come out of thin air.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
So tell me, are you able to work right now? Are you employed? Or what is it what keeps you busy?
Right now I have a job in waiting. They said I am able to work. I mean, I could. I'm trying to look for a job. It's I have this lady I know that she does it's a contracting job.
Uh-huh.
So she said whenever I'm ready, I can just put in my application and I'd be hired like on the spot.
Good. Because that's a goal, isn't it? That's why you want to transplant. You want to go back to work.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So do you have a fund? Has somebody set up a fund for you in any way, shape, or form, like a GoFundMe site or anything like that?
No, I don't have a GoFundMe account or anything like that. No.
Okay, that's okay. I'm just wondering if you do. There's opportunities out there. I know you've got expenses. Can't tell me you don't. I know you do.
Right.
All right. And all of this stuff that a donor does step forward, when they do step forward, all of that's going to get covered. That's not going to be the problem. And we'll follow that donor also. I want you to know that we're going to follow you after your transplant, but we're also going to follow the donor very closely, whether they come through us or they come through university, whether they come through whatever, Facebook, whatever they come through. We'll have an opportunity to work with them through you. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit. I know we're concentrating looking for a living donor, but what should be happening to you if university calls you tomorrow afternoon and says, "Say, we want you to come down. We think we have a kidney for you." What would you do in that case?
If they have a kidney for me?
Yeah. You're on the list, right?
Yeah, I'm on the list. I'm according to them, I'm at the top of the list.
Well, there you go. So what would happen? What would you do?
I would go.
Absolutely.
Obviously, I would go. I would just wonder if it's a deceased or a living donor.
Well, it's going to be a deceased. It's going to be a deceased. If they call you.
That's just the same. That's just the same thing I went through.
Exactly.
2015.
Yeah, there should be no question. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Just hopefully this one can last a lot longer than this one I currently have. If I was to get a deceased donor, just hopefully it'll last longer than the one I currently have.
Okay, and so the key to that's going to be how we take care of it and how you take care of yourself.
Exactly.
So we have a plan. We have we have an algorithm, so to speak. After you get transplanted, we'll work closely with you and the transplant program. We're not going to circumvent the transplant group at university. We're going to work right along with them. We're not going to have you doing things other than that. Whatever their plan is, we're going to stay with it. But we will encourage you. We'll encourage you to stay in the support group. We'll encourage you to do, exercise. You're going to have to do your nutrition wise because of your diabetes. So all these things roll into how long you keep a kidney. All right.
Right.
Now there's a difference here. Some people, can't keep a kidney because of rare illness. There can be things like FSGS or IgA, some type of kidney disease that can come back and attack the kidney, but that's not the case here. Your case is that as long as you control your blood sugar, you control your lifestyle, that kidney is going to be in pretty good shape. And that's not an assumption. That's a rare, not a rarity. It's a belief. That's something that you believe in. And so, that's the way we'll work. All right?
Yes.
So as I tell my pals at Kidney Solutions, I'm not going anywhere. I'm retired now. So I got plenty of time to work with you. I got plenty of time to work with everybody.
Awesome.
So be mindful of this now. The things that you're doing now prepare you for transplant. Okay.
Right.
I encourage you to have an exercise program. Even if we have to set up type of plan with you, you've got to be active. You cannot be, a potato. You got to move out, and you've got to be and watching your diet as far as that concerned, taking your medicines, all the things that you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But make an emphasis that the goal now is to get transplanted. No matter how it comes, we're going to be ready for that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I think the question is then, it's the ask that we're saying, please, if you are listening to this, if you can share it, after you've listened to it, even if you don't want to donate or you don't have any idea how to donate, just give me a call. We'll talk about it, and we'll set you straight, and we'll get you in cahoots with the university, and we'll get a donor and a kidney for Quinton here. That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just share it with everybody. Share it with friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, anybody.
Yeah. If you don't share it, if you don't ask, it's not going to happen. All right.
Exactly.
It's not going to come out of thin air. It's up to you. And everybody says, well, how can I help Quinton? You can help him by just doing that. If you can't donate, at least tell people that he's looking. All right. Not begging. He's looking. He's praying that all of this will result in a donor kidney. And that's it. That's bottom line. Okay. Tell me, is there anything that you would want to say other than, did we miss anything? Is there anything you would like to tell people or ask people?
Just I would just like everyone to keep me in their prayers and spread word of mouth. The quickest communication is word of mouth.
Yep.
So if you can just get this out there to like I said and Mr. Bressler said, to coworkers, friends, families, it may not be you, like he said and I said, it could be somebody else.
Yeah.
But that's the best way to spread it. It's just word of mouth.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Don't be afraid. Yeah. Because I can tell you, if you are afraid of asking about what it is to be a living donor, or if you're in a position where a loved one has been and could give kidneys because of an accident or something like that, if you're faced with that, just remember, if you ask the questions, you won't have to worry about it later on down the road. You say, oh, I wished I'd have done this or that. If you meet it right there, get your questions answered and get all of those false beliefs that are out there neutralized, and just get to the point that you can live with one kidney. All right. You don't, my brother's done it for almost 35 years now. He does fine. All right. And we have multitude people at Kidney Solutions who've given, even altruistically. All right. They've given it to somebody up totally unknown to them, not knowing them, not advertising for it, not asking for it, but actually just go in and say, look, I got an extra kidney I'd like to give. You can do that. And that helps a lot of people. All right.
Yes.
All right. All right, Quinton. I can tell you, I'm gonna talk to just a little bit with the folks that are listening, and then I'm gonna close her down. But I want you to stick around with me for a minute afterwards, okay? I'll come back to you. Hang in there, okay, folks. This is a search. It's a big search. It's a life-changing search. It's something that you can do just by giving Kidney Solutions a call, so we can give you all the information you need to know about donating to Quinton Johnson. And let me tell you what, it's not a matter of, oh, gee whiz, I don't know if I can. It's, oh, gee whiz, I want to. All right. And when you do that in your heart, God's eye in your eye, doesn't make any difference. I call you a hero, but I can tell you what, inside you'll be better for it. All right. You have something that he needs. And when you give, it comes back to you 100-fold. So until we meet again, until we do this again, think of Quinton, pray for Quinton. But for sure, if you're thinking about donating, get a hold of us. All right. And there'll be no questions asked, and you'll get good answers from us. So until we talk again, till I see you again on the next podcast, keep breathing.